Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Yousaf has been asked to report himself to the Commissioner because he's broke the ministerial code. And he hasn't done that. He first of all claimed it's because he was too busy, he was in America, but he's been back a week, he still hasn't done it. And it looks like he's got no intention of doing it, even though he has lied to Holyrood. Whether it's deliberate or not is a different matter, but the fact is the words come out of his mouth and they were not true, and he hasn't corrected them. The man, therefore, lies. But it's worse than just lying to you or me like they normally do. He's lied in Holyrood, and he's tried to get his flunkies to find the appropriate information so he can spin it in such a way that it doesn't look like a lie. And he's been caught out again because they're morons. But anyway, we'll have a quick look at this. It is funny because you just know that no matter what he does, he's not getting away. They're not letting him away with this one. He can't keep doing it. He has to report himself. And it's going to be question over his head. They just have to say, well, if you haven't reported yourself, we can't believe a word you're saying. And that's it. Until he reports himself, he's got to be treated like a liar. Anyway, we'll have a look. Here goes. So, Yousaf still hasn't discussed his breach of ministerial code as allegations hang over his head. The allegations being, of course, that he's an outright liar. The First Minister has been urged to report himself to the independent advisor on the Scottish ministerial code after being accused of misleading MSPs in a renewables row. Look at that smug face. I'm not going to report myself and there's nothing you can do. Deary, deary me. They need to bring in rules that he can be prosecuted in a court of law. That'd take that smug look off his face, wouldn't it? Yousaf is yet to respond to the allegations that he breached the ministerial code, as accusations remain hanging over his head. The First Minister is under growing pressure to refer himself to the independent advisor on the Scottish ministerial code amid claims he misled Parliament. He had no claims about it. He definitely did, 100%. Scottish Lib Dem leader Alex Cole-Hamilton wrote to the SNP leader 2 weeks ago, urging him to do this, but has so far fallen on deaf ears, and there's none so deaf as them as won't listen. Last week, a spokesman for the First Minister claimed he was too busy in New York, and that's a load of old rubbish. And that is all to even look at a letter. So you're there in New York and you can't look at a letter. Oh yeah, well that's quite clearly a lie, isn't it? But this week he could not explain why he still had not been discussed. Because he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to admit he got something wrong. Mr Yousaf has been accused of misleading MSPs. That's parliamentary speech for lying through his teeth. After he corrected the record, making a false renewable energy claims during First Minister's questions on June 22. The gaffe-prone politician claimed that Scotland had the majority of the UK's renewable energy sources. Turns out that is complete and utter bullshit, and we all know that. This is incorrect, as officials have previously said that the country only has 26%, and was mentioned in a point of order by the Scottish Tory MSP Liam Kerr, who demanded the First Minister correct the record. He did so in a letter to his Conservative colleagues on August the 29th. But in the letter, Mr Yousaf stated that he intended to refer to the per capita figures instead. But correspondence between government officials showed that they had spent a number of weeks following the incident coming up with figures to allow him to save face, and they came up with the solution on June the 3rd. In other words, I lied, I got to get out of it. Oh, if I say per capita, and then he's told people, go and look for the per capita figures to try and find that so that they could get out of the hole in the ground. So it's very, it's bullshit. He's an absolute bullshit merchant, isn't he? Anyway, he's faced calls from opposition parties to refer himself to the independent advisor, with the Scottish Government still failing to explain the disparity between the dates and his intended comment. In other words, he said he intended to do it in a letter dated before giving instructions to find out these numbers. Smacks of it, doesn't it? Absolute caught fingers in the cookie jar, mate. But this has not been done yet, with Mr Cole-Hamilton raising awareness of it. He said, if the explanation that the First Minister gave Parliament was actually an established government statistic, rather than one manufactured to save his blushes, I am sure he will be able to point to some evidence of existing in previous government documents and briefings. We need to know if the First Minister will refer himself to the independent advisor for an investigation. Humza Yousaf and the Scottish Government have been unresponsive for 2 weeks. Out of respect for our Parliament, you would expect the First Minister to give this matter his attention. The Ministerial Code is very clear that ministers who knowingly mislead the Parliament will be expected to offer their resignation. He did it. He knowingly misled the Parliament, and he won't refer himself because he knows if he's caught, then he has to resign, and he ain't gonna do that. He fought so hard for that. A spokesman for the First Minister was asked by the Scottish Daily Express about this on Thursday, but claimed there was no update on the incident. He said, "We've got no update on this." When asked what the excuse was this week, he added, "I'm not trying to offer an excuse. I'm just saying that we will respond to the letter on the same time frame we usually respond to letters on." Mr. Yousaf has fiercely denied these allegations and even told the BBC that there isn't a story here. Although I suspect there quite clearly is, because he's lying again. He accused the journalist of practically verbatim quoting opposition lines at me. Well, that's nothing wrong with that, is there? What's wrong with quoting somebody else's lines? It's not a crime. Unlike lying to the Parliament, that is. But before he could face further scrutiny, he headed out to America to attend Climate Week in New York. Oh, the irony. So, he's saying that this was a real figure and he would have had that before. So let's see if there is a government report dated prior to his intended comment showing the per capita figures. And if not, if those per capita figures were got at after he corrected it, then he must resign because he will have deliberately lied to Parliament. That's it, isn't it? And it's quite simple. So the opposition have got to keep pushing for this, going at it, trying to find it, catching him red-handed, and then forcing him to resign because he is a liar who's been caught out in his own lies. And I'll quite clearly say it. The man is a liar. He's lied about so many things. We've seen them. So I can say it without being fear of prosecution. It's great. The man lies. Anyway, we'll finish there, come up, and we'll round off the video. Sometimes you have to say things in a roundabout manner, like allegedly and things like that. And then sometimes you can just come out and say it. Humza Yousaf, liar. He lies. Man lies. There you go. He is a liar. And so he's been caught out in them so many times. And there's nothing he can do. You see, the greatest defence is the truth. Oh, they hate the truth, don't they? Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. I told you it was a quick one. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and let's hope they do catch him out and he does have to resign in ignominy. Bye.